Hey guys, it's Merlini with odds analysis and predictions for the November 3rd Playday, and there are a ton of matches today. So, first one is the Nexon Sponsorship League, Tilt vs 5NQ. Never heard of any of these teams. Best of 3. My good prediction friend Jack Sung says, easiest bet of my life, betting on 5NQ. Their Dota buff also looks a lot better. It was 60-40 at the time of me placing my bet, but I don't know enough about this matchup. Just going with what other people say, 5NQ will be my bet. LGD China versus Vici Gaming, Sina Cup best of 3 matchup. Even though Vici beat out DK, I didn't particularly like their gameplay. Game 1, they let DK get back into the game even though they had like a 10 to 15,000 gold lead. Vici's strengths are in the 5-man fighting style as well as early roaming. They're not that good at like split pushing and defending against Rat Dota, as evidenced by Burning's ridiculous farm that game. And it was a lot of hesitation from Vici and poor control of the map. I think LGD is a stronger team than DK right now, and even though I bet on Vici the other day versus DK, I think I'll be betting on LGD China in this one. Last 3 matchups were 1-1, LGD 2-0, and another 1-1. I didn't trust LGD to beat out IG the other day because they did lose 0-2 to them the time before that. But LGD China hasn't actually lost a best of 3 in like over a month, except for the 0-2 to IG immediately after the release of Dire Ties. So I'll be siding with them. I don't know why I lost faith. They're a good team. Next one that we have is FOU, 4-Hour Utopia versus MVP. MVP is a pretty strong Korean team. People talk about their mid player as being godly and whatnot. And Demon has recently joined their ranks, as I believe March has. And FOU, they lost March, and now they have Blitz. Blitz is a personal friend of mine. I'll be betting on FOU. Don't really know too much about this matchup. Excited to see who wins. Next one that we have, Dota 2 Champions League. I believe this is a best of 3. Oh, it's a best of 5. Sorry, it's a best of 5. And Alliance Raffle stomped Liquid at DreamHack. It was just brutal, 3-0. And I think that both of these teams actually suffered similar fates as of late. Liquid not doing too hot at MLG, didn't advance to playoffs. Alliance, same story. And then both of them had pretty disappointing performances at DreamHack. Alliance didn't even make it to the finals, which I did not see coming, and they've just been looking pretty weak recently. But I think Alliance are ready to get back into shape. That's kind of their wake-up call. Hey, guys, we may need to practice, even though we destroyed everybody 3 months ago. And yeah, they kind of do. I expect Alliance to win this. If the odds get too skewed, like 80% or something like that, I'll probably take away my bet on Alliance. Liquid has beat out Alliance a couple of times, even in best of 3s, and Liquid's not a pushover, but I think Alliance will win this one. I'd say odds are a little bit over 75-25. For the D2L, which I will be casting, we have Fnatic EU versus VP. These odds seem about right. I actually posted odds before, just because this match was just added. I'd say about 77-23 in favor of Fnatic. VP did go through some roster shuffling. They added Dread. Let's see. They added oh no, sorry, VP actually added Illidan and JOTM, and they did not look very good. The team I was actually talking about was Poseidon, but they just kind of got crushed yesterday by SSD, and it just was not pretty. Light of Heaven, not in that solo offlane role again. Looks like they have some issues there, and their drafting was just really, really weak. In a best of 3, I don't really see them beating out Fnatic EU. If the odds get too skewed, I won't bet. I'm not going to YOLO on VP until I see the potential, because right now it's not there. Next one that we have are the best of 1 Starladder matches, which are super risky. And as I said yesterday, bet small on them if you are at all concerned about losing very many rares in one day. And I lost a lot of matches yesterday, but that's okay. That's how it goes. First one that we have is Navi versus Flipside. Flipside, their early game was pretty good. Their mid game decision making, their overextension, and their carry players' decision making was just terrible. And I think that even if Navi managed to lose out in the early game, which they sometimes do, I don't really see them losing to Flipside. These odds are pretty damn skewed though. Pretty terrible returns. How many do I get for betting 4? Just 1 rare. This is the group stage. Navi has a tendency to not try as hard in the group stage. So how much faith do you have in Navi trying hard in this particular match? That's up to you. And you can bet if you think that they're going to try pretty hard. Next one that we have is Flipside versus Power Rangers. Power Rangers actually looked pretty good versus 4FC yesterday, but I guess I was more at 4FC looking weak. I think the odds should be a little bit closer, maybe like 2-1 or 70-30 in favor of Power Rangers, because Flipside is not that bad, contrary to what the odds may suggest. But Flipside have lost their last 6 matches. If you check out their Dota buff, I have it linked up right here. It just does not look very good. And yeah, lost versus NextKZ, Poseidon Empire, and VP, all these just ugly games. And yeah, there's just still a relatively new team. I may YOLO on them in the future, but I don't think now's the time or place. But if they manage to beat out Navi, maybe I'll change my bet. So some of these do depend on prior matchups throughout the day, and you can check the Reddit post for updates throughout the Playday. But as of right now, I'll just be betting on Power Rangers. Trend is your friend. Poseidon versus Sigma Int. So Poseidon, they lost a couple of players to VP, and they have taken in Dread, Solo, and Nexus now join KSI and TMW/Crazy. The lineup is pretty strong, but I haven't seen any games from them yet. So I don't really know what to expect, but this is the Sigma Int that got to the semifinals of MLG for when there was like Navi and Alliance and a couple other really good teams, and Speed Gaming obviously. So I don't really know too much about this matchup. I haven't seen Poseidon play really, and Sigma Int have kind of just been really quiet after MLG, so I don't know whether they're like looking super hot, whether they're like, oh fuck, we lost, and then they're like depressed and shit. I don't know. So I'll probably just bet on Sigma Int just because I like gambling, but I don't really know too much information about this matchup. I think odds seem about right though. Next one is Mouse versus SSD. These odds should not be that far off. Like SSD, they beat out VP yesterday, but VP had an ass draft, and SSD, they do have a tendency to be really inconsistent. So Mouse versus SSD, this should not be 40-60 because SSD versus VP was 50-50 yesterday, and I think Mouse is a better team than VP. So if anything, I think they should favor Mouse. So this is a really easy bet for me. I'm going to be betting on Mouse. I think it should be like 55-45 in favor of Mouse. Really good value in betting on Mouse. Mouse is not that bad, guys. Come on. Next one that we have is Navi versus TBD, which is Fnatic versus VP. If Fnatic wins, I think the odds should be 35-65 in favor of Navi. I think if VP wins, it should be around 21-79 in favor of Navi again. Navi do need to win this if they want to advance to the playoffs. It's like a bubble race format. You can do some more research on the website if you're curious onto how it works. But Navi do need to win this, or else they're out of playoff contention. So I think they'll take this game pretty seriously, and it is a best of 3, and I think I'll be betting on them. If it's 65-35, I'll bet on Navi. If it's 79-21, I'll bet on Navi if it's versus VP. If it gets too skewed, I may reconsider, but I don't expect them to be that skewed, especially since Fnatic 3-0'd them the other day. DK versus Tong Fu is the last matchup. Tong Fu, I just love betting against them. I bet against them like almost all the time. I bet against them when LGDN plays them. I bet against them just so often. And yeah, they have some good players, but their play has just not been very good. They rely on a lot of draft wins, and people overrate them a decent amount. I don't bet against them when they're playing Hearts Get Together or some other team like that, but they've been in a pretty bad slump, and odds are still pretty good when this is a DK Tong Fu matchup. 9-minute forfeit versus LGD China, and a loss versus LGD the other day. And that's just not bode well versus Tong Fu. Yeah, DK had some strange things too, but I think that Mushi and ISS will be back in China by this time. I say odds are probably like 73-27 in favor of DK. And even if they weren't back in China, I would probably still bet on DK. So betting on DK for that one. Thanks for joining me, guys, in another episode of Mad Rares with Merlini. As usual, bet small if there are Bureau 1s or matchups that you're uncomfortable about. These ones in particular, I'm pretty unsure about. All the Starladder ones. Maybe not the Mouse one because I think it's good value, but you should probably bet smaller on those 1 or 2 rares instead of the usual 4 so you don't blow out your bank. Best of luck to your rares, guys. If you like my videos, please subscribe to me at youtube.com/MerliniDota, and best of luck to your rares.